Oh, he is so good. Please give it up for Zach Haven, everybody.
Keep it going for my buddy, Dr. DeBoer. Good to be here. Good to be here, coming in all the way from Tulsa. Long drive, you know. Pretty fun drive, though. Saw an interesting thing. Saw some conjoined twins driving a Ford Fusion, and I was like, that's ironic. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Didn't expect this kind of thing on the drive. This was fun. This is good. It's good to be here, though, Barleycorns. Give it up for yourselves. Give it up for you guys. It's good to be here. I was digging this lady over here. I don't know where she went, but she's very hot. So when she comes back, I'm gonna talk to her. Don't say anything. We're gonna keep this special. No, it's good to be here. I want to start working out. I want to start working out. I want to work out, not really to get in like good shape or like look good. I just want to be like an efficient human being, you know? Like that's what I want to do. Like if I was over at a buddy's house and he was like, hey man, can you help me move this couch? I'm like, absolutely, I got you. Because if he asked me to move a couch right now, I'm like, you better have an ambulance on standby. Because I'm not going to make it. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to like tie my shoes without having to stand up being like, I am winded. Like I'm wearing Velcro right now. That's how bad it's gotten, man. You don't believe me? That shit is real. I just want to be able to have sex without having to stop halfway through and get a Dixie cup of water and be like, oh, I need to hydrate. I am exhausted. I am so tired. A lot of that I have to blame for Nicki Minaj. The stranglehold that Nicki Minaj has on my subconscious is unhealthy. Alright, straight up, you ever heard somebody ask, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I wouldn't do shit for a Klondike bar. But if Nicki Minaj was like, what would you do for blood, like nosebleed tickets to my show? I'm like, I would commit a political assassination. Like, not even VIP, not even meet and greets, like back row as far as you can possibly go. I would take out some heavy hitters for that, you know? Like if Nicki Minaj texted me and it was just her doing like a kissy face, I'd come in my pants. Like that's how much she means to me. Like that's what it is. Like I would do shit for Nicki Minaj I wouldn't do for my mom. Like if my mom called me and was like, Zach, I need you to take me to the hospital, I'd be like, well, Nicki needs chips. See ya. I'm gonna go take care of her.
Our nation.
Yeah. Speaking of chips, have you guys noticed the sort of chip bags never give you enough of the good chips? You know, you get like 2 bags of the original, 2 bags of nacho cheese, 2 bags of Cool Ranch, and then you get like 50 bags of Fritos. Like, who the fuck eats Fritos freehand, you know? Like, if you don't have Frito chili pie or bean dip, what are you doing, you psychopath? That's crazy. Like, I would rather hang out with the Trump family than eat a bag of Fritos. Like, I would much rather do that. Like, that sounds so much more fun. Like, they look like Cardi B's fingernails. You're like, ugh, I don't want to eat that shit, you know? I find coming in a girl's face disrespectful. I do. I find it disrespectful. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's in her eyes, in her hair, in her nose. It's got to be awful. But like at the same time, if a girl asked me to come in her face, I wouldn't hesitate. Like it wouldn't. I wouldn't even question it. You know? It'd be like putting Mentos in Coca-Cola. Like you would not be able to stop what is happening. You know? How it would go. You know, it'd be like you just won a Nick Kids Choice Awards. You'd be like, oh, I can't handle this. How come there's a black scent? You know what I mean? You all know somebody. You all know a white guy who uses a black scent. You're picturing him in their head. You're right now. You're picturing him in their head. Like, you don't see that with anything else. Besides, like, white women in the British accent, you don't see anything else like that, you know? You don't have your buddy walk up to you and be like, "Konnichiwa, guys!" You're like, "What are you doing, Todd?" You know? And Todd's a black guy. I bet you guys didn't expect that. You racist. Hey, relax, Todd. I get in trouble in Tulsa for some jokes. I got in trouble for talking about Anne Frank at a show once. This guy got very upset about me telling a joke about Anne Frank. It was like, "You can't tell Anne Frank jokes at all." And I was like, "Why? Is she gonna show up?" Like, is she gonna tweet at us? Like, "Oh, I can't believe these assholes in Tulsa are talking shit about me," you know? Like, come on, dude. What's gonna happen? You go to heaven and run into Anne Frank and she's like, "Hey, you remember when you stood up for me in front of all those comics in that shitty bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma?" Up top. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to this Jewish girl.
Jesus.
To be honest, I like to judge people by their looks. I know you're not supposed to do that, but it's what you do, you know? You ever see somebody that you're like, "Wow, I'm fascinated by this person. I would like to know what their life's about, what they love, what their interests are." And then they get in like a car or something and they have like a Trump pen sticker and you're like, "I know everything about that person. I know everything I need to know," you know? It's like, you're obviously judging a book by its cover. Like, if I saw a guy right now walking across the street in a Klan outfit, I'm not gonna look at him and go, "That guy's probably got some good ideas." No, you're gonna judge the shit out of him and then hopefully all of us will go beat him up, right? Yeah? No, some of you are not gonna beat him up. Racist. Alright. I forgot we were in Wichita. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Hey, I'm from Tulsa. Calm down. We had the worst massacre in American history. Let's calm down. Too real? Sorry. I like my comedy show to come with a little history. That's just what I do. Speaking of a little history, a little bit about me. I'm German, Italian, and Japanese. I'm the Axis powers of World War II. Combined into this banging body you see before you right now. But I grew up in a small town called Cushing, Oklahoma, and all that translated to was, "Hey, Asian kid," like that's all. You know, I got picked on a lot. I got picked on a ton. Like, kids would come up to me and be like, "Hey, Zach, how's Hiroshima?" "Oh, it's gone!" And then run off into the night, you know. And that's fine. I was tough. I could stand up for myself. I'd be like, "Hey, guys, how's Pearl Harbor?" "Oh, it's gone!" I got the shit beat out of me for that thing. But, you know, you gotta stand up for yourself. You gotta be tough. Girls would come up to me and be like, "Hey, Zach, teach us kung fu, then do our nails." And I'm like, "That's not cool. I can't do kung fu." The thing that always bothered me, the thing that I hated, was that they always said I had squinty eyes, and I hated that. They would always come up to me and be like, "Hey, Zach, why don't you open your eyes when you talk to me?" You know? But like I said, I was tough. I could stand up for myself. I would look back at him and be like, "Hey, Kyle, you gonna shoot up a school today?" I got beat up a lot for that, but never shot. Kyle liked the joke, which I was very thankful of. You guys are fun. I didn't know what to expect. I noticed we measure things weird in this country. I was hanging out with a buddy the other day and he was like, "Dude, look at all this trunk space." He just got a new car. He was like, "Look at all this trunk space." He's like, "I could fit like 6 bodies in here." And I'm like, "That's a weird way to measure trunk space." I'm like, "If you just had 3 bodies in a duffel bag with a head, I'd have believed you. 6? It's a Sonata. Oh, well. But I started to notice this more. I was at an amusement park the other day waiting in line for a roller coaster, and they have those facts, you know? And they were like, "This roller coaster is as tall as 3 statues of liberty." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. How tall is the Statue of Liberty?" They're like, "About 13 buses." I'm like, "What the fuck are these measurements?" Makes no sense. I've started applying it to my life, though. I was talking to this girl the other day, and she was like, "Zach, how big are you down there?" And I was like, "About 13 Tic Tacs, you know?" would help if they're orange. I have a boring job. Anybody got boring jobs here? Yeah. I'm a bank teller. I have a very boring job. But every once in a while something cool happens. Like this guy came in the other day to cash a check. No big deal. I'm doing my thing. He's on his phone. All of a sudden, porn starts playing on his phone. Like loud. Like full volume pornography. And he freaked out. He was like, oh my God. He shut it off and he looked at me and he was like, memes, right? And I was like, yeah, dude, memes. Just be honest, we all knew it was porn. I knew the exact video he was watching. Someone with a stepmom gets stuck in the stairs. I highly recommend it, it's good. Sound quality's good, lighting's good. You know. I had a hard time believing she was a stepmom, but it's awesome. What are you gonna do? I actually did that joke in front of my stepmom, and now the tension between us is weird. Every time I go home and see her, I'm like, stay away from the stairs. I don't know. According to the internet, I can't control myself, so I don't want you over there. You know? I feel like it'd be weird to date a porn star. It'd be tough, you know? She comes home from work, and you're like, how was your day, honey? And she was like, oh, I got fucked over at work today. And over, and over, and over, and over, and over, and over. We couldn't get the scene right. And you just feel bad. You make her a nice dinner, and she's like, oh, honey, I appreciate it. We did a gangbang. I'm full. You couldn't introduce you to your friends. You'd be like, hey guys, this is... We know. Big fans. Like, it'd be weird. So weird. I feel like it'd be weird to date a magician. It'd be very weird to date a magician. She'd be like, honey, can you get my chapstick out of my purse? And you'd be like, yeah, absolutely, honey. And you're like, oh, a rabbit, that's funny, that's okay, all right. Sits in that pocket, right? And you're like, oh, the pole, the big pole, that's fun. Where's the fucking chapstick, you know? It would get frustrating, I feel like, you know? You'd be like, honey, let's make some love tonight. And she's like, oh, I've been on my period, but hold on. I feel like the fights would just be ridiculous. You'd be like, oh, you can swallow a sword, but you can't suck my... All right. You know, bullshit. It's weird working in a bank, though. I don't know if this is like a common thing throughout like retail or dealing with customer service, but people just like to tell you their dark stories, just like as the first thing they say to you all day, you know? This old lady came in the other day, I'm doing my thing, I'm trying to make small talk with her. I'm like, hey, how was your weekend? And she was like, oh, my husband died in a fire this weekend. I was like, you want this back in 20s? Like, what do I say to that? That's so rude of you. Have a nice Tuesday. I had a lady one time come up to me and she saw that I have a tattoo right here. And she got very upset. She was like, oh. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, does my tattoo offend you? And she's like, well, I just don't like tattoos. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, that's fair. Everybody has their thing. She's like, yeah, I had a friend who had a tattoo once in the Holocaust. And I was just like, yeah, so did everybody else. Have a good rest of the day. I don't know what to say to that. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day of watching footage of industrial shredders. You guys know what those are? Those big metal teeth that just eat anything that you throw into it. I can't be the only one who watches these videos and thinks, put a person in there. Like, put a person in there. Like, you know? We're all a little sick on the inside. We're all a little dark. We don't like to admit it. Like, yeah, it's cool to see an engine or a refrigerator get mulched because it seems indestructible, but like, put a person in there. Like, what if that became the new death penalty, you know? They're like, this Sunday on pay-per-view, we're dropping 50 murderers and 50 rapists into the pit of freedom, into the teeth of Uncle Sam. For $59.99, you can watch this event hosted by Rob Gronkowski and Kelly Ripa. I think you'd spend money on that Sunday and have a good one. You know, you call your friends over, have a good time. I also went down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching drag makeup tutorials. And ladies, you gotta step it up. My God, I'm not saying men can do everything better, but we're getting really close. We're getting really close. I was so sexually confused by the end of those videos, I had to go watch a thread of Megan Thee Stallion music videos just to kind of get myself right, you know? Any Megan Thee Stallion fans in here? Yeah, that's a woman in my opinion, man. Like, my friends and I the other day were talking about it. They're like, Zach, do you think you could hook up with Megan Thee Stallion? And I don't think I have what it takes to hook up with Megan Thee Stallion, you know? Like, if Megan Thee Stallion walked through that door right now and was like, Zach, let's have some sex, I'd be like, give me 6 months to train. Like, let me go, like, work out, do some cardio, definitely some Kegels, doing them right now, like. And even then, I don't know if I can handle that body, yada, 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 you know what I'm saying? That's for the real Megan fans right there. I don't even care that it didn't work. I don't even care. I don't give a shit. Because we're having a good time, right? Wichita? You guys are great. I like you guys a lot. You guys seem a lot cooler than my friend who gets mad at unrealistic things in movies. He's the hardest person in the world to hang out with. We were watching a movie the other day. It was a period piece, like ancient civilization set in the past kind of shit. And there was a scene where the characters walk into a restaurant. And it completely took him out of the movie. He was like, what the fuck? Why would that be there? The concept of a restaurant wouldn't even exist into that civilization. That's so fucking stupid. And I'm like, bro, it's the Emperor's New Groove. I'm like, you're mad that they're in a restaurant, but not the fact that he's a talking llama? Like, where are your priorities, dude? Or that Disney somehow made David Spade likable? I don't know what's going on. I'm a big fan of TikTok. Any TikTok fans in here? Yeah! Good, this will work for the two of you. My favorite thing on TikTok is seeing the single moms dancing half naked with the kid in the back. I love these women. I do. I admire these women. I'm like, they're putting it out there. They're like, look at me. I'm fun. I'm sexy. Like, yeah, I have a kid and a crippling TikTok addiction. And it's up to you to decide which red flag is worse. For me, I'm like, it's that swastika tattoo on your stomach. What have I stumbled upon? But whenever you look in the comments of those videos, there's inevitably some asshole that puts, that's someone's daughter. Always, never fails. And like that phrase only ever applies to stuff like that, like sex work, like, you know, OnlyFans, stripping, dancing half naked in front of your kid. Like, you don't see a woman win a Nobel Peace Prize and somebody in the back like, that's someone's daughter. Up there winning a Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. And for dudes, it only applies to us when we die. They were like, that's somebody's son. That was somebody's son who died in the Capitol riots, you know? Like Jeffrey Dahmer was somebody's son. Who was also eating somebody's son. But at least he wasn't a stripper because that's somebody's daughter and that's fucked up, right ladies? I'm so jealous of kids today. Did anybody growing up have a friend with a hot mom? Yeah, a couple of you. Every time I've asked that question, there's always one guy that answers immediately. Yes! Every time, and I was like, this guy gets it. We had our lady growing up, my buddy's mom, Mrs. Mackey. She was, you know, super hot. She would throw a pool party every summer, and it would always be the talk of the town for the boys. She'd get her new bikini. We'd be like, this is the year she jumps off the diving board, and it all comes off. Every year we waited for it, you know? And kids today can just subscribe to their friends' mom's OnlyFans. Yeah. All the wonder and mystery is just gone. You know? And you can't be mad at them because they're good friends. They're supporting your family. You're like, don't be mad at us, bro, who got you that PS5. You know? We all did when we resubscribed last month. Can you imagine the conversations at school? You'd be like, yo, did you see Dakota's mom on OnlyFans last night? 12 inches. And they're like, yeah, but what about Michael's mom? She blew the whole football team. Like, I definitely resubscribed to that. And they're like, what about Roscoe's mom? And Roscoe's like, come on guys, that's someone's daughter. And they're like, yeah, that daughter's your mom, bitch. So being from Oklahoma, we have medical marijuana, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm sick. I'm sick. I have my medical marijuana card because I'm sick. And I had this epiphany the other day that I probably smoked a little too much weed. And it came to me because anytime I get any amount of cash, I know exactly how much weed I can buy with said cash. I was helping my dad with some yard work the other day, and he gave me $50, and I was like, dope, that's a quarter. And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, nothing, Dad, have fun at church, I'll see you later, you know? Have a good one. I got paid for a comedy show the other day, and I was like, sweet, I can buy 2 pre-rolls. This is gonna be a good night, like I'm gonna have a fun one. You know, it's fun. I ran into my landlord yesterday, and he was like, yo, do you have rent? And I was like, rent? You mean 2 ounces, 3 edibles, 6 dabs, and 14 joints? I'm gonna be so late this month. The first time I smoked weed was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and it was the first football game of the year, and I was hanging out with these ne'er-do-wells who smoked weed, and they were like, you wanna come try it? And I was like, absolutely. I saw Pineapple Express, this is what I wanna do. And so I go with them and we smoke a blunt, right? And it's my first time smoking anything, so I don't know if I do it right. You know, I don't feel any different. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. We're gonna go to the football game after, but before we do, my friend's like, hey, we're gonna go inside and make a drink. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so I go inside with them, and they pull out a Sonic cup that's the biggest Sonic cup you could possibly have. And they start filling this cup up with the biggest bottle of cough syrup I've ever seen. Just start pouring it in. Meanwhile, my friend Ryan is at the counter crushing up hydrocodone and scooping that into the cough syrup drink. And then my friend Oscar comes from around the corner with a bottle of Sprite, pours a little in the cap, dumps it in. The whole time I'm watching this going, what the fuck has my life turned into? So I asked my friends, I said, guys, what is this? They were like, this is called perk drink, or lean. And I said, cool. So I took a sip of the lean, and then went to the first football game of the season. And when I came to on Tuesday, I apparently had went to the game and was a delight. There are photos of me on Facebook that I don't remember taking. Everyone was like, bro, you were super fun. And I was like, awesome. What is football? I don't know what that is. The first time I actually ever got high off marijuana was the third time I smoked weed. I went over to a buddy's house. He needed a ride to Walmart. So I was like, all right, I'll come pick you up. He was like, I'll give you some weed to smoke. And he was like, we'll smoke it on the way to Walmart. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So he's smoking on the way to Walmart. And like, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, yeah, I haven't really got high yet. This is like my third time doing it. And he's like, oh, well, you know, maybe this will be the time, you know? And you know whenever like you walk into Walmart and that air hits you? I blacked out. And when I came to, I was throwing away an entire package of Oreos and a half gallon of milk in front of my stepmom. And my stepmom looked at me and she was like, boy, you were hungry. And I was like, I was incredibly hungry. Now my stepmom at the time was vice principal of our high school. So like, she knew what high teenagers looked like. But she looked at me and was like, well, have a good night. And then went to bed. And that's when I realized my stepmom sucks at her job. And I can get away with doing all the drugs. So if you have any, I actually caught my brother smoking weed the other day, which was pretty wild. My brother's a goody two-shoes, doesn't do anything bad, never gotten in trouble his whole life, doesn't even drink. He's like 24, won't even drink. And I caught him smoking weed the other day, and I got a little excited. Like I kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, oh, you're smoking weed, you know? And he was like, oh my God, shut up. Like, don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me. Don't tell mom and dad. I don't want them to be mad at me. I just don't want anybody to be mad at me. And I was like, dude, it's fine. Like, it's weed. It's no big deal. I don't care. And he's like, I know, but it's your weed. So I told my parents. And I got his PS5 and my weed, so I've had a good week. I don't know about you guys. It's been fun. It's been a good time. I one time met a guy with no legs who told me he had a penis and was adamant to let me know that it worked. He gave me this piece of advice. He was like, if you ever have the chance to, hook up with an amputee person, take that chance. You might learn a little something. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's actually really good advice, Because it's like a perfect woman is one who won't run away during times of hardship. She's literally more perfect when she can't actually run away from those times of hardship. I don't know, I'm into it ever since. Amputees, give it up. Not a lot here, that's alright. Not proud. A lot of amputees in Arkansas. I don't know about Wichita. But it's not because of it's incest reasons. But that's I don't know what else I could talk about. I don't know what the time is, how much I was supposed to do, so we'll keep going. I be talking about being Japanese. My mom's Japanese. My mom's interesting though. My mom was born in Japan, but grew up her whole life in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So my mom is like a white trash Asian. That's the best way to describe. My mom is like if Lucy Liu and Kid Rock had a baby. Or for a more updated reference, Post Malone and Aquafina. That's just a lot of smart with a lot of garbage. My mom is a smart woman. Graduated college, did all that bullshit. But the only piece of advice that my mom has ever given me was, Zach, don't shave all your pubes because women don't like bouncing on sandpaper. Alright. Cool, so I've never done that. I'm bushy down here, ladies. She would get drunk. She gets wrecked on Coors Light and sits in her pool all day while wearing a cowboy hat. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, you've never ridden a horse in your life. You trying to be Bret Michaels? Calm down. This is crazy. She can speak fluent Japanese. I've seen her do it. She would speak to her mom in Japanese. She speaks to our relatives in Japanese. She would yell at my brother and I in Japanese. But God forbid she hears anybody speak Spanish. She's like, go back to your country. This is America. MAGA, MAGA. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Mom, get back in the pool. And those are your neighbors. They're Arizona. Dummy, fucking idiot. You guys talk to your mom Anyway. Before I get out of here, I have a hard time with minor inconveniences in my life. I don't know if you guys are like that, but I could get in a car wreck and they'd be like, oh my God, you killed 2 people. And I'd be like, it's a Monday, what are you gonna do? They suck, The other day I was making a sandwich and I didn't have any mayonnaise, and the next thing I know, I'm hanging myself in the garage. And I'm like, this isn't how I should handle this issue. I should just go to Walmart or something. And then the thought of going to Walmart made me put a gun in my mouth. And I thought again, Zach, not a good way to handle this issue. You should just go outside, get some air. And the next thing I know, I'm standing over an industrial shredder. And I'm like, push me in, Gronk. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a good night. I've had a lovely night.
Keep it going for Zach!